Big news in McGolf. Lots of stuff going on in Ohio from a golf perspective. And oh, by the way, we're going to talk about some, golf equipment. What's next on What's in My Drawers Golf Talk? Welcome back to the McGolf Shop. Jim McCleary here, and this is What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Why What's in My Drawers? Because it's a What's in My Drawers in my shop, right? And it's because old club makers, club fitters are tremendous pack rats. And I'm no different. And this is a discussion about golf equipment and the way of fittings, repairs, reviews, opinions, and a lot of other stuff in between. So let's go along. Let's get started with this thing, shall we? All righty. So we can see that somehow I have figured out how to get the picture in the back to show up. And now, why is that important? Well, it is important because we no longer have the range. The range has been shut down. Well, we closed it, but we left it open with folks that had cards and whatnot, so they could use some of it up until it was over with. Now, this is what it looks like now. And hopefully you can see that all the poles are down, the nets are right around that thing. And we have somebody coming that's interested in the poles that want them for something. So they're going to come clean that up for us, and we no longer have a fence. So awesome for us. So that was a good thing. Another thing that was very good that, locally, we had a local golfer qualify for the British Senior Open, and he qualified by shooting a very low score, 63, at Firestone. Just so happens the Senior Tour was up in Firestone, and they're playing opposite courses, as I understand it. And so we had a win there. Man, pardon me. Plus, the ladies in the local area, not necessarily so local as the guy, about an hour to our north in Albany, was a 15-year-old girl made the qualified on the LPGA and ended up finishing 24th. So good for her. So 15-year-old. So we have a lot going on for the way for Ohio. And from a McGolf point of view, we just received an email that looks a lot like, well, this. And it says, congratulations, McGolf Custom Clubs. We're pleased to inform you that you and your company have received 2023 Golf Digest America's Best Club Fitter Award. Our team of editors evaluated 1,000 nomination submissions and looking at the facilities, resources, tools, expertise, fitting methodology. Additionally, consulted equipment companies, 2,000 plus panelists, and conducted an online survey for the subscribers. And then it tells me how I can use it from a marketing perspective. So hoorah for us, McGolf Custom Clubs. Me and Mrs. McGolf are all about that. So salute and thank you guys, because somewhere out there, somebody has talked to them and recommended us. So again, thank you if you're one of those. Today is an old fashioned with Buffalo Trace in it. So nummy for us. Okay. What do we do in the shop? We normally talk about what's in the shop, right? I made 4 sets of irons this week, and we were cranking them out so fast, I didn't have any time to take pictures of the doggone things. And 2 of them were Mizuno's, to be sure, HM Pros for hot metal. And I repaired a set. We reshafted a set of them, and the 4th one just escapes me. Plus, we did some wedge grinding, and I made a video of this to an extent, and it was wedges of some Flynn wedges. Now, if you guys got kids and they're trying to be competitive, Flynn is certainly a name that pops up. And it make irons, drivers, the whole 9 yards, using UST shafts, and for competitive kids until they get to a certain age where they can start using OEM. Well, so I have a set of they sent a set of blue shafted wedges, and they appear to be the same model. However, when they're in blue, in the blue length, they're shorter, and then the wedges have a different shape than the red. The red have a very, very wide flange on the bottom and a lot of curvature, and I'm not sure why the change. If it's just for the height or whatever, I just don't get it. Anyway, he wanted me to make the reds look like the blues, so that's what we did. And actually, they turned out pretty cool. I'm kind of happy with these. So we did okay with that one, and then we did a lot of putter work. So down to the point where my putters were all filled up in my putter display, and now I'm down to just a select handful. So been a lot there, which takes me into my next topic of how did I shoot? 78 guys, 78, and I did it with a record number of 1 putts and 0 3 putts. And when it was all said and done, I marked it off. I had 333 foot worth of putts. And when it was all said and done, on my second, I had 16 and a half. So there was a couple of 1 putts and, obviously some 1 putts. And I blew some by, but man, the putting was on. And that, when you're putting like that, that helps you score very well. It's easy to, walk up there and just literally, I had to count 2 at ½ inches because the ball was literally leaning into the cup and just wouldn't fall. So there it was. Driver started working finally. The irons were I will say they were working. The wedges were working. The hybrids still haven't figured out. Those guys have not figured out a way to hit the ball very, very well at the 2. At the 4 is working fine. The 2, not so much. So we got to figure that out. But I wanted to show you. I'm just going to go down through some no holes in particular, but this is where I was golfing. I was the first one out, and I got through the round in 2 hours and like 20 minutes. So here's that's that one is on the front 9. That is a par 4 after I've hit into the fairway there. And here's another. That's a par 5. Looking way down there. They have 2 par 5s on this track that's over 500 yards. And that's just a closer version of the same thing. And there it is. That's finally after we've gotten 3 pictures of it, that's what the green actually looks like. And this is a par 3. If you can see, the fog was just getting kind of foggy. And this is a par 3, 130 yards that you can take about 2 clubs off of because that's the transition. And this one is the bottom. I'm going to show you a hole what it looks like from where we teed off. And this is just a mound before going to the green in the back. But this is what it looked like when we took off. That is some scary stuff. Good looking picture, but some scary stuff. The opening where you see right smack dab in the middle of the picture, that is where the direction of the fairway goes. And then when you get down and land onto the bottom, it looks like this. So, and it's easy to mistake because it's a tight shot off of this transition. All right, there's hole number 1. Just coming up close on it. Here's hole number 2. This is another par 5. And then just a little homage to the putter. It was working very, very well. And they were looking at it. And last but not least, number 17, which is another par 3, 170 yard shot that you can hit an 8 iron on because of the transition. All righty. So we got through all that. And so it's been a pretty good week for me golf. Shot a pretty good score. Got some improvement on the clubs, which is a good thing. The locals are doing very, very well. The gal from Albany is doing very, very well. And the award, I mean, that's pretty cool. We've won that award every time since its inception. And there's a big old story behind it, but we'll let that one go. Well, no, we won't. The first time that came out, I believe, was 2011, and the editor of the Golf Digest sent me an email and says, "Here, I need you to fill out this form." I'm like, all right, because I used to, every once in a while you'll see my name in there as Club Fitter so and so says this, and when they do that, every once in a while, they ask us all for our opinion. We're in a smaller group, and and they'll publish my name. And I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. Well, one day he says, here, fill out this form. I'm like, all right, I'll fill out the form. And it's a lot of questions on how to do fittings. I'm like, okay. And so I sent him another note. I said, how detailed do you want this to be, man? Because I know you got to put it in print and you only have so much room. He says, just fill it out however you'd fill it out. I'm like, all right. So I do, and I hear nothing. Crickets. I'm like, well, maybe he's not going to use it. I don't know. It just, he's asking for some info and I gave it to him. Well, then in the mail comes this cardboard envelope with a big display and saying, hey, look at you. You're the 2011. And at the time, they had about 600 people they picked. And out of the 600, 100 of them were considered the best. What top 100 is what they were calling them. And that turned around in the top 100 for the first couple of times became kind of convoluted because Club Champion and all the other bigger box were becoming box stores instead of what we do. And so now there became a separation. So now they just call them the Golf Digest Best. I don't know how many that means, but they call us, and there is a separation still. So that's pretty cool as well. All righty. Let me see. I got all that done. We got our banner happening. All righty. So let's do this. Let's do some comments. All righty. So Matt says, shot a 73 this past week, and they're in Kingston, Tennessee. Nice. I'm going to pull this chair up, I think. There we go. That's a little bit better. And he's visiting some family. Will not be live today. Too bad. He gets to play Tennessee National. Man, he'll probably tear that place up knowing him. Good for him. Well done. All righty. David Jones, my buddy from Pennsylvania. So last Wednesday in hole number 3, a 300-yard par 4 teed off with a 3 hybrid to the left side. Hit his gap wedge into the green, second bounce into the hole. Mr. Jones gets the eagle. First one ever. Good job, dude. Well done. Glad to see that happen for you. That's as well. I don't say it as rare, but it's right next to those hole-in-ones. Good for you. All right, 77-82 did manage 30 in the front. You are the man, Charlie. Well done. How's the weather in Tennessee? It's starting to get kind of sketchy over here. I got to run a drill tomorrow, so it's going to be kind of hard. All right. Charlie says, nice eagle, David. Good job. Hello to you, too. Yeah, David says he credits the club fitter. Huh. Dude, at that particular point, it's the guy on the end of that stick. So, well done. All right. If you're referring to Jim, he's good at what he does. I love the clubs he put together. Meticulous craftsmanship. Charlie, you are a poet. Thank you very much, though. There's our man back again under the disguise of Helen B. Danny Freeman. I have been playing with Cobra LTDX 1-length irons and love them. Good deal. Can I put the same shafts in one of my Cleveland wedges, or would the line have to be adjusted? Well, Danny, the answer to that is yes on both accounts. Yes, you could put one of those 1-lengths in there, and yes, you're going to have to adjust the lie angle. Now, the thing on this one is, in most cases, we'll just use the lie angles are running around a 7 or an 8 iron, right? 7 or an 8 iron, which could be 62, 63-ish, maybe, right? And that's really not too far off from what a standard Cleveland wedge would be. And so it should be easily to be bent to that length or to that lie angle. Now keep in mind, this thing's going to feel heavier, okay? Because they're all going to be like a whole bunch of 7-irons, just lofts are jacked around to get you the distances. So they're all the same head weight, so they all feel the same. So you make one swing, one length. And you put this wedge in it, it's not going to feel the same. It's going to feel heavier. You'll be able to swing it easier. It's going to feel heavier though, just so you know going into it. All right. Are you aware of the new Washon 719 driver? Looks like a club fitter's dream. I saw the video that Mr. Washon put out on that thing, and it does look like it has merit. As a matter of fact, I just got the new, the folks at, I believe it's over in the UK. Anyway, the folks that now own the Washon Golf, they put out a redesigned 919 TH, and it looks good. A little more rounded in the sole, still can bend it. It's a good looking club. The 719, what Helen is talking about, what he's talking about is that Washon came up with an adjustable driver that has a lot of weight placement options. Now, history would show that Mr. Washon does not like adjustable drivers, and he goes into further in explaining why in this video. And it was mostly because he wanted to. What was happening is that the adjustability was in too many radiuses. There were too many directions, and they were connecting like the TaylorMade with that big honking orange thing on the back. It was being addressed only when you sold it, and he didn't like that. He wanted it to be a true to life change. So somewhere along the lines, he's figured out how to make this adjustability like this with very little of that. But it does occur. And then underneath, he has 4 significant weight ports, of which you can weight to give the driver a level of bias or none whatsoever. So it comes out empty. It comes out at, what was it, 170 grams or something like that. And then you get to put 30 grams of weight into this thing, either in the heel to make it a draw bias, into the toe to make it a fade bias, or separate it out to give it this neutral position. There's a lot going on with it. And he goes into great length about talking about it. Well, not today. Today was frozen pizza. Living the life, man. Now, yesterday we made some. I smoked some chicken breasts. Now, I got to tell you, I'm happy with this this Rectech 380X. It's the smaller one. It's like a kettle grill, and it makes some of the best doggone chicken I have ever had. So it's awesome. Helen, could you do heel and toe relief on irons? Well, to an extent, yes. Do I recommend it? Probably not. Unless you really, really, really had something was going on that you just had to have it. Because the reason being is on wedges, the characteristic of the wedge doesn't get changed a lot by changing the grind. Okay, because there's so much sole on this grind that you're only taking off, even when you make what looks to be a tremendous change in the club, you're not taking off a lot of weight. Okay, now when you're on an iron, and depending on the type of iron, if you're in kind of a traditional iron like the Wilson CB, right? The Wilson CB, a one-piece forged club, then yeah, you could get away with that. But something like a multi-piece or a what they call a hollow body, no, because it's too thin, and when you go to get in it, you could actually just cut right through the bottom and maybe not get to where you need. So the real answer there, partner, is it depends. There's my sis. How you doing, kiddo? My dog Rex. What do you say, buddy? You see some paradigms. Yes, you do, sir. 3 hybrids. That's all. 3 hybrids, and then, well, my driver. You can't tell. It's right underneath my thumb right there where you can see some chevrons right underneath the USN. I'm trying to make them work. Me and my hybrid swinger my 4 and I guess the 4 and the 5 working fine. This 2 is just killing me. And it's got to be mental. It just has to be mental. I've said, I went down there while I was playing with this round last, and I would flub one, and I'm like, what is going on? And then I kind of figured part of it out, and I would hit it, and I threw it 40 yards further. That's how bad the first shot was. It's not how good the second one was. And there's still more in there, but I'm getting closer. Matt says it's 91 degrees in Tennessee. And if it's in Tennessee, it means the humidity is about 5 million %. And watch out for the flying teeth, i.e., mosquitoes. But enjoy. Slats, greetings, Jim Ron. Hot Southern California. Finally broke 90. First time I've had 2 birdies in a round. Unfortunately, had 2 double bogeys. Well, at least it's even. At least it's even. Nice hat. You like that? You like that? So we've still got, let's see if I'm going to do it right. We still have the whole set of them up right there. And they're very comfy. The blue one and the gray ones on the bottom are actually my favorite when it comes to when it comes to the feel. The feel of these are just, I think they're nicer. It could be because my head's so big that the extra large just fits a little bit tighter. It's probably closer to what the answer is. All right. Yes. Oh, Charlie, thanks for being a good reader. Finally broke 90. I thought he was talking about we were all talking about temperature, and all of a sudden he hits 90. Well, congrats, man. Welcome to getting off that bogey train. Good job for you. NP says howdy, all. All right. Besides the obvious, what is the playing difference from tapered or non-tapered and bore-through hosels? Well, not a lot. Hosels are, if we're talking about hosels themselves, there's not a lot. Hosels are defined by their length and their bore depth. And then the last one that's kind of hosel related, but it's more club related, is that ground to bottom bore. And what that means is the bottom of where the shaft is at to where the ground hits. There's a measurement there. And that can really change based on the radius of the bottom of the club. Now, the differences are, if you're playing, we have to go back because taper tip and non-tapered or parallels, pretty much the same thing, right, as far as hosels go. Now, you can bore out a taper tip to fit a parallel. We've done that dozens of times. Where the change is at is where you get into bore throughs. Now, older bore throughs, say like the old Dynapowers from Wilson, they had very, very long hosels and this little bitty red dot that you would think that would hold that, because they had smaller shafts back then that would get in there, and it was, I won't say it wasn't a functional bore through, but it was a bore through nevertheless that you had to finish and clean up. And they still do that to this day. Some of these golf clubs Callaway did it, somebody else did it. Anyway, they had these bore throughs, but they are non-functional. And they did, and they where they had the little rounded pieces in them. I think they might have been in like the model after the Diablo. They were just basically, and Wilson has some. There's one more. I'll think about it later. Anyway, they're all pretty much to date. They're all non-functional. Now, going backwards a little bit in time, from in between the super old Wilsons to today, you had Big Bertha irons. The Big Bertha irons were very, very low, very, very small hosels that would go into, that would be a bore through, and they were functional. You actually did put the shaft in there, you ground it off, and you did all that. Now, what was going on with those guys is because it was so short, you're trying to get a little bit more kick so that it would turn. Hosels are very, very important to club design because it helps place the center of gravity in the club. All right. Hi, Mr. Anderson. Looking forward to the show. Well, very good. Congratulations for Mr. Jones, and same to you, bud. We're all on the same page here. You've earned that award. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Matt says congrats. Mr. Jack, what do you say, buddy? Danny Johnson, congratulations. Thank you, sir. Yeah, 78 was pretty cool. Again, I just kept, same thing as what happened last time. I just kept this stuff in front of me. I never lost anything way right or way left. And if I missed it, it was short. I was missing short because I, top one or something along that lines. But yeah, it was pretty neat. All right, Jim, I hear Sean Toulon has left Callaway Golf. What is that? What way does that leave Toulon design putters for the future? Well, Mr. Toulon is a very, very energetic man. However, Mr. Toulon, I believe, was in his 70s. So I think it was just he was leaving because it was time. Now, he has two sons, and one of them was more of the operational side of the house, and the other one was more of the business/design part of the house. So between the two of them, I think you'll probably see more of the same of what we've got already, and then probably their flair into it with some help from the Callaway people. That's one avenue it could take. The second avenue is the Toulon design could just disappear altogether, and they could come up with a new one and let the Toulon kids deal with it in that direction. However, I don't see that happening. Yes, it was, Matt. That was Crown Hill. I kept it all in front of me, so it was not bad. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. I appreciate it. Sonny V, what do you say, buddy? Hey, there's Krister. It's been a while, partner. Got 9 holes in today, plus 2 to par, plus 1 net, 11 putts. See, now that's how you do it right there. But then again, I've been watching you putt again, and you're hitting that. He's got that putt out, and it's like watching a clock, right? He just hits it, it goes in, comes back, hits it, it goes back in, hits it, goes back in, hits it, goes back in. I've never seen anybody do that. And so his putting skills are on a different level than the rest of ours. But very good. Well done, sir. Glad you're doing well. All right. Poison mystery. My sister lives in Wisconsin, so they're pretty close. Down here, we even got a warning from all the smoke from Canada. I think it's Quebec. Sully says, "Congrats, no problem. Quick putter fit questions. Would specs on one blade Odyssey Tri K generally be the same for a Newport 2? Not liking the insert and considering going back to a Scotty." Yeah, I don't, the flat, because the Scotty is basic. The Scotty and the bladed putter from the Odyssey are pretty much of the same fashion. They're not measuring them any differently. So the length, the loft, the lie, the putter, the grip, that kind of thing. Now, I will warn you, it's going to feel way differently unless you change it out. But if you've got if this is what you mean by Tri-K or Tri-Hot, and it has a Stroke Lab shaft in it, it's going to feel different, just so you know. Caslin, we say, partner. What's the cost to put in a set of D9 forges together with DX plus 1 inch? well, Mrs. McGolf will send you a quote. Just need to know what you want in the way of grips. Jim Anderson, who's your friend on the windowsill? Love that beard. It's a Santa golfer. I got one in each corner. They're Santa golfers, and he's got a green skid lid, and this guy over here's got a black one, or I'm sorry, a red one, and they're both golfers, both carrying their bags. So for this guy had a bit of an accident, I had to do some club repair for him. All righty. Matt talking to Krister. Here we go. After your fittings, the recommendation sheets are filled out. What would the next steps be? Well, the next steps for us is that I take them over to Mrs. McGolf, and she explains what the cost and the timeline is and allows them to make their decision on whether or not they want to proceed or take it somewhere else, because they've paid for the fitting, which is the service that we provided, and there you go. Now, I will say, in way more cases than not, it ends up in something, but maybe the budget allows for a driver. Maybe the budget allows for a set of irons. Maybe a budget allows for everything. Or they are really happy with their putter, so they don't need to worry about that. Or, pick a piece and that doesn't need to be replaced. It's purely up to the customer at that point. Hey, shot a 76, 77, and 73 last week. All right. Oh, and one putt. See, I'm telling you, that can get. There we go. Can you recommend any driving irons at 18 degrees? I can. In the past, some of the best ones that we've had, and some of the best ones I've seen, actually you would like the Srixon driving iron at 18 and the Wilson.
Just remember two things you didn't talk about.
What's that?
Alvin coming to visit and the guy from Chicago. The guy from Illinois coming the same night staying in our hotel.
Oh, that's right. We're going to have to talk about those two. I couldn't believe I didn't have I got the picture.
You got the picture of Alvin on there, but we didn't get one of the other guys.
Okay. All right. So the going back, the Srixon is a very, very good driving iron. I think that one's the preferred model of the ones on tour. Although I have played around with the Wilson one with some people, and they've experienced some very, very good results from that one. Those are probably, as far as, good ones. They all make one, but those are probably the two best. Mizuno makes one. They call it the Fly High. It's kind of, it's a very high flying one. I don't think that's necessarily what you're looking for. I would go with the other ones first. All right, as Mrs. McGolf reminded me, I forgot to mention that we had some visitors during the fittings. And as soon as I go find them, the first I had, here we go. Let's do this. There we go. I had the rep from Graphite Design. That's not going to come out very good. The rep from Graphite Design, he came out and visited. His name is Alvin. Alvin's been a friend of ours for quite some time. Let's see if I can make it happen this way. He's been a friend of ours quite some time through various companies, and he came to visit via California, and it was a good visit. He's a good guy. Has helped us get started and gave us some good ideas, and we're going to probably pounce on him. The other one was, we had a gentleman come down from Chicago, or just within a Chicago suburb. An older gentleman in his 70s drove down here, and in excellent shape, and hit a lot of golf clubs, and I think we gained him some yardage, and so that helped him out a little bit. So good for him. Past my prime. Hello, Jim and Robin and McGolfland. Thank you, sir. All right. Any tips, tricks in installing two-piece putter grips? Yeah, I got one or two. Two. One for each piece. How about that? So, when installing a two-piece putter grip, one of two things have got to happen. One, they got to either be touching or they got to be like 1.5 inches apart. All right. There's a rule out there. And there is a rule out there. Let's see while I'm talking to you about it. Merry Christmas. There we go. And there it is. Oh, come on. There we go. So there's an interpretation. There's if you go to the USGA website and they have to be separated by 1.5 inches. There's all kinds of different ways that tells you how that they've got to be. Okay. So anyway, if you're doing the standard one where there's a handle piece and then there's a longer piece for whether you want to do the claw, the holding, or whatever. All right, they got to be 1.5 inches apart. All right, so what do? You measure out where the bottom piece goes on the shaft, and then you take the other piece, the second piece, and measure that and make a mark. So now you got the length of the putter grip. Then you add another 1.5 inches to 2 inches, depending on, 1.5 inches. If you make it 2 inches, then you're never going to have to worry about you don't have to worry about, it's sliding or something like that. But if you want to be that close, that's fine. You can measure 1.5 inches to 2 inches, and that's your new end, right? That's your new end. Now, you've got it marked for the total length of what you need to be to have your separation be legal. Now you take your piece of tape and the entire length of that thing and slap it down. Put on the tape, slide on that first one, which is the long piece, and it doesn't have that weep hole. So you're going to have to pour the solvent out, right? And then slide that thing all the way down to the very end where that tape stopped. So that the end of that is like that. So right at the very end. So now it's covered up. It doesn't look ugly. Secondly, then you put on the back one. So now you got all this really cool looking grip with about yay much of exposed tape. That's fine. Hit it with like a heating gun, blow dryer, whatever, and get it nice and dried off. And then take your the knife that you use to rip grips off of. I have a hooked blade, so it works a little easier for me. But a straight blade would do it. And you take a straight blade and you just go all the way around. You just lay that razor all the way around on both sides and just peel it off, and voila, it looks like a pro did it. That's basically how you do it. All right, and that's how you pull them off. Tim Muster, thanks for getting the quick driver fitting. No problem, buddy. Being how I've seen you swing 2 or 3 times, I figured we could get a hold of it. Just a matter of figuring out whether or not you like that X flex or that S flex. Strong S, weak X, whatever. You'll be out there hitting them to 320 in no time. I hear thunder. I hear thunder. All right. Oh, swing it. Krister, he has the 719 driver with 310 grams plus a 2. And it was Sean. All right. But there's a but there. Lost 10 to 15 meters in carry compared to the Cobra LS. Are they the same lofts, Krister? That'd be cool. Looking to build a 719 5-wood with 5-wood specs. Well, you better be prepared to throw a lot of weight in there, man. Yeah, Krister was throwing it out. He was throwing the ball into the yard, Charlie. I mean, he really, when we saw him last time, that wasn't a bad number. And there it is, 3 twin. Very cool. I'm talking to Mr. Tim. In normal fairway conditions. Man. Yeah, Charlie, we're in that same boat. We need 2 shots to get where he's at. 105 here in Hemet, California. Wow. Oh, but I've hurt my back. Have an appointment with a chiropractor in 1.5 weeks. Oh, man, good. Well, get better, buddy. Heat packs and ice packs. There you go. Foam rolling. Oh, you get that chirper where they get that wheel and you roll back on it and all you hear is a whole bunch of cracking. That might be something. All right. They're nice putters, man. The Toulon, nothing wrong with the Toulon putter. It's just unfortunate that people grow old and they got to move on. JP Duncan. Hey, Jim and Robin, hope's doing well. Thank you, sir. We very much are. PZ, you the man. Oh, there we go. Just want to say, I think I speak for all of us. Thank you for your time and what you do. Congrats on your play as well. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I see you've been busy. You've been doing some, was it charity events of some variety, or just playing out golfing with some buds, and you've been smacking it around pretty good from what I've seen. Mrs. McGolf says hit that like button, and I would join her with that one. Sully says awesome. Thanks for the knowledge. You are more than welcome. JP. Jim, if a 7-iron with a Dynamic Gold 300 has 1/4 inch added to the shaft, what does this do to the effective lie and swing weight? Well, if it's truly just added to the length of the club, i.e., actually it's really a 1/4 inch and it's just not a 1/4 inch longer because of the grip, okay, it could go either way. In theory, the effective lie is a 1/4 of 1 degree change, okay? And the swing weight may go up less than 1 swing weight point. It'd be virtually undetectable to the naked hand. And that's where it's at. A 1/4 of an inch is not necessarily a huge change. Total weight, swing weight, or any of that stuff. You know, you might get a swing weight point, like I said, and a 1/4 of a degree of lie angle change. Love the blue-hatted one. Yeah, he's doing pretty good. I like him too. He's been sitting back there for a while cheering me on. All right, Jim, before I come in for the fitting in California, I can send a couple of videos of my swing so you can decide if you can help me or not. Robin, send me info of the videos and I will do that. Okay, let us know. Muddy Udders. Okay. Have you done any leather wrapping for grips? A long time ago. I've done it for them, and we used to do quite a bit. Wind grips, the original wind grips, if you remember the blondes and the blondes and the blacks. That's what they were called, the blondes and the blacks, and all they had were the wrapped grips. And what you could do is, if the synthetic piece of it would go away, then it was only taped on the bottom and the top from a dressing, and it was an adhesive. You could literally just heat it up a little bit and pull it off, and they sold these strips. And you would start at the top, and if you wanted to make it, I'm sorry, I got something in my eye. If you wanted to, man, other than my finger in my eye, if you wanted to make it thicker, you could overlap the edges and make it thicker. If you want to make it thinner, you could pull it a little tighter. I mean, there's a lot of customizing you could do with that all the way around. Once all done, you took the tape and you would wrap it around. Now, leather grips, leather wrappings were typically done on, if it's true leather, like on woodwoods or wood shafted clubs, and they were held on by these little tack nails. All right, and so you'd wrap the club, and then normally the wooden shafts had a metal cup on it, and that would go over the top, and you would just tack that into the top, and that would dress the top so it didn't look raw. Well, I'm sure there were other ones like little rubber caps or something like that, but at the time, metal was the predominant thing. At the bottom, what you did is you whipped it with a piece of pitch, and pitch was nothing more than cotton line or cotton string dipped in some tar and made flexible, and you would wind it, and you would be just like whipping your grip, like you would whip the bottom of the club. I know how to do it. It's just been a while. The same lofts, huh? Yeah, they're saying something right there. Thanks, Jim. I haven't had to install a two-piece, but I'm glad I asked. There you go, no problem. Peter, long time no see, bud. Glad you're back. 68. Tied your age. You are the man. I want to grow up and be like you one day to be able to shoot a 68 like that. That would be awesome. And I hope the weather down there in Myrtle Beach is doing you very, very well. When we're getting down there, we are getting down there sometime this year. I just don't remember when. All righty. Saying hello to Miss Robin. Charlie saying outstanding round. Mark Wright. How can I buy shaft adapters from the OEM? I started a club repair business in my garage. I have a business license. Will they sell to me? Maybe. Now, here's the thing, Mark. Number one, don't be discouraged if they don't, because they don't want to have any liability with club makers. Okay. Now, if they could sell them to you, they will probably sell them to you in at least a dozen or more at a crack.
Tell them to check Golfworks first, and if Golfworks doesn't have the originals, go to shaftconnects.com.
Shaft Connects, does it? Okay. So that would be number one. So you might have to do a 12 at a time. And again, don't be disappointed if they don't sell to people. They don't even like selling to me. Okay. And that's not saying a whole lot, but that's just what it is. Where we tend to get our OEM stuff is from Golfworks. Golfworks carries the actual OEM replacement for a lot of the brands like Ping, Callaway, TaylorMade, PXG, except for Titleist. And if you're looking at something like that, Robin is saying shaftconnects.com, and you'll probably end up saving a little bit of money when you do that. All righty. Dennis Hood. Hope all is well. Thank you. Do old charts exist to determine flex and bend points of shaft? Do old charts exist to determine flex and bend points of shafts? Are you talking about like, if you're talking about creating your own chart, the answer is yes. Yes, they do. And again, I just said Golfworks. Golfworks still has the old bending machine where it was really, really long. I mean, 5 foot long, and you put the grip in the end, and you hung that 7-weight thingy on the end of it. Over on the end was a piece of, it was like a pad of graph paper, and you would just keep putting the lines on. Now, there's also a bending machine that you can tuck for stress that will tell you flex, of which rode in the middle of that particular machine, and that was nothing. And they had some specialized ones, but honestly, it was nothing more than a very large piece of graph paper. and you could write it on your own. Now, if you're asking about, do charts exist to determine flex and bend points, if that information is like out there, no, not that I'm aware. However, something that you might be interested in is GolfWorks again. Jim Yananich spent a long time measuring shafts, and he's got this new graph, a frequency graph, and it has these ranges in them, and they're not uniform, and it's really kind of neat. This range in it to say this is what he found at the bottom end of a regular, this is what he found at the top end of a regular, and how they work themselves out. And that could be something if you're looking for that. Nope, getting too old so I can shoot my age hot and humid here. I think that the whole temperature thing is starting to happen everywhere here, man. It's not real happy up here, and it's getting ready to rain, which means it's going to be even worse. And up north where my sister's at, she says it's hot and humid up there, and that's, Wisconsin, where humidity normally never exists because it's so cold. So we'll see what that happens. Caslin sent the email, and Mrs. McGolf already did that. And Peter, he's talking with somebody. She's talking with somebody. Okay. So let's go back. Man, I rolled right through this stuff. We had visitors. Man, we had visitors from Ireland, Switzerland, Myrtle Beach, Florida, up north, Canada. They're just Pennsylvania, all over the U.S., on the East Coast, in the Big Ten. I mean, just about everywhere. On the West Coast, we got West Coast taken care of, and we got Matt. He's expanding our reach into Tennessee today, so that's a good thing. So we've made it all the way around. That's cool. Very, very cool. And it looks like we go with 8 minutes to spare, guys and gals. So again, we didn't get to talk about too much in the way of fittings, although we did some fittings. Our man that was 70 was surprisingly strong in being able to hit some golf clubs. I think, here we go. We'll finish it up with the topic. Fitting versus lessons, and when should they be both? Okay. So in the past, it would be my opinion that when you're doing a fitting, if the fitter sees something that's mechanically incorrect, i.e. a grip that's too strong or too weak, or they're bent over too much, or standing up too close, or coming in very, very flat. Now that flat could be something else. And something that is a very easy mechanical take or a mechanical tell, that I would believe that the fitter has a responsibility to tell that person that they have a mechanical glitch, and that could be the problem of their golfing woes. Okay, that could be true of a putter, that could be true of wedges, it could be true of the driver. In fact, it'll be magnitudes bigger when it goes to the driver because nobody sees that. It could be stance, where the shoulders are cockeyed one way and the lower body's going the other way, so that it's causing you to pull across and around. Again, the fitter should be able to tell you and say, hey, look, man, you need to square up. You need to get your shoulders right. You need to get your grip this way, stand up, be a little more balanced so you can make a better swing. Why? So that more options are available to you, the golfer, right? Right now, is if you go and you say, well, Jim, all I do is a slice, and he's got this tremendous over the top, or can't close the club face, and I give you something with a tremendous amount of offset, and it cures it for a while. Grand, except for you've learned nothing, right? You've learned nothing other than I can build you a club to help you out. And I guarantee you that you will figure out how to slice that club by holding it more open or whatever, because you are so used to seeing those results that it almost hurts to see it go some other way. Now, if we go over it and we show you that if you do this change in stance or change in grip or change in how you release the club, something simple, and all of a sudden you start seeing this change without having this massive overhaul. Then after, being in here for a while, 30, 40 shots, all of a sudden it becomes habit, and then it doesn't hurt anymore. And then all of a sudden, maybe you don't need a big offset club. Maybe you just need a regular club, and maybe just a lighter or heavier shaft for that matter. So there's a lot that goes on when it goes to fittings and into lessons. Now it could also be, that that the person just needs a lesson, right? And I will say that's rare. In doing this since 1999, I have stopped a fitting 3 times and only 3 times, because there is no way I was going to be able to build a golf club to help that golfer. We just dropped the clubs and we went into a lesson in order to help that person get to where they needed to be, in order to just be able to go out and at least have some fun. Now, I will say, in every instance that I did that, the golfer came back 6, 8, 10 months later to show me their improvement, and it was massive, absolutely massive, and the improvement was just crazy. And then we went into a fitting and got him into some clubs, and that's how fitters create relationships. That's how fitters get the reputations of that they do, in order to help these guys. Because the idea is scores go low, golfer enjoys golf, and all things are good in the world. So that's what we were talking about. All righty. That was where we got. That took me to 3 minutes, so we're good to go. And Peter, will certainly give you a little nod to see what's going on. We'll let you know where we're golfing. We've got 6 or 7 courses picked out. Nothing too off the top, I don't think. Places that we've just never been. So we're going to enjoy ourselves again. Always do when we go down there. So do the ladies. Alrighty, so guys and gals, thank you again for showing up. I tell you what, it's been a blast yet again. Thank you for all the congratulations. I appreciate it very, very much. And watch for our video. It will be on. What will be on? Oh, it'll be on golf club length, right? It's Golf Clubs Explained, the golf shaft. Golf Clubs Explained, the golf shaft. So you ought to see that here in the near future. And as always, everybody, thank you so very much. And let's see your scores go low.